going to do this video on mounting a snow plow on a brand new Massimo. It's a 500. The plow is a Denali Plow. Denali, however you want to pronounce it. The plow system's a good buy. We got it online. It's a complete system. It's a little under $500. You get the plow, the push arms, and the mounting plate. The only thing it doesn't come with is the UTV and the winch. So we're going to do attempt to do a mounting video, and hopefully it'll help anybody else, because you will learn and I will learn together if there's any little hidden glitches. So we'll get at that right now. Okay, first thing it says to do is we got to take the skid plate off the front, and the manual says it's 8mm, and it is 8mm. So there's 6 bolts. You can see them through here to take this plate off. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, you can see we got the plate loose and off. Just a plastic, whatever they want to call it, skid plate. So we got the skid plate off. Move it out of the way like it says, and we'll read and I'll be back. Now it's saying remove these two 15mm bolts. And just a FYI on these directions, they give you a part number MA11756 snowplow mount. The problem is they named both mounts, the top and the bottom, the same thing. So you just have to look at it, you can figure it out. Okay, those 2 bolts are out. You're probably wondering why I'm not using power tools. Well, I'm not using power tools because I had a fire and I lost basically everything in my garage. So I got reimbursed, and I'm slowly trying to replace stuff that I lost. But I started with hand tools first because I needed those now. But okay, those 2 bolts are off. Now the mount that goes on the bottom here is this piece here. So that piece there. There's 2 pieces. I don't have much in the way of light either, so I hope this is coming out decent enough to where you can tell. This is the mount that's going to go on the bottom. I told you they marked both the same number, so now I'm going to show you. And this is the top mount. It's kind of a triangle shape. It's just hard because you don't realize how much stuff you have and how easy you got it until you have a fire and lose everything. But this is the top mount. So this is going to go up on the top, up here. This is on the bottom, right here. And it's going to go up underneath. So let me get some bolts and stuff figured out here, and we'll go to the next step. This is the way this bracket is supposed to bolt up, i.e. look. So hopefully you can see that. just took those two bolts off the bottom, set this in place, put those exact 2 bolts right back in. So I'll get those tightened up and then we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, that's in place. I didn't tighten it because it seems to have some play here, and until I see where this top plate's gonna go, I don't really know where this is supposed to sit exactly because it is a little bit sloppy. But we're gonna leave it loose for right now until we get a little further so I can see exactly what we're gonna have here. And you can probably see my breath. Yes, it's cold. It's snowing. It's miserable. I'm trying to warm it up here with the space heater, but it doesn't seem to be working. Alright. Got these 2 bolts on. Then you had to come out here. You got to put these bolts on here. They were missing the washers and lock nuts. So I had to get some of my own stuff that was salvaged from the fire. And I'm going to go ahead and get this roughly bolted up for right now. Said these were 17. They're not 17. They are 15s. Okay. I was jumping ahead, and it's actually my fault. The 17 millimeters, which there's 2 of these, get a washer and a lock nut, and they go up in this spot right here on the angled part. Camera so you can see. They gave the right size. I just was using the wrong area. Okay, what those 2 in the front did is they've leveled this all out now. These 2 here. So it was a good idea to leave these loose, not tighten these. You can see they just wobble in there. That just lines up that piece on top is all it does. But you get these tight, then these tight, and what happens is it's leveled everything right out. So I was kind of wondering, it's like there's no shims, nothing like that, what's going on? But once you get it in place, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Next, the top plate mounting to the top plate right here, mounting to the bottom. Takes a 9/16. Okay, snow goes down and we'll get to the next step. Alright, that's the mount. Next we gotta line up, work the skid plate out, line up the skid plate, so I'm gonna get that stuff together. Okay, this next piece is putting the skid plate back on. Some of you guys probably aren't going to like it, but it tells you in the directions that you're going to have to cut this because the original wrapped up around and bolted up in here. Well, obviously, with all this on here, it's not going back there. So it tells you have to trim it. So I did a little trimming with the jigsaw, measurements and stuff to keep it nice so it don't look like shit. And just a little bit of a little notch, and then it fits right back up in there. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking these bolts from here out. I'm going to put a washer on that's going to do this hole right here, and that's going to be what's going to hold the front of this down, because this sits tight right here anyway, so it'll be okay there. Just I'm going to put some washers right here so that it holds the front up, and when I'm done you'll see it, and you'll see that I know you're probably thinking I gotta cut a brand new piece off my UTV. Well, if you want the plow and you want the skid plate back on, which I recommend, because if you look up right here, there's nothing protecting that front end. So you're gonna want to cut this, and then I'll show you the finished product here in a minute. Now here's the finished setup. You can see now the skid plate is in. And get a little light here. The original factory bolts, the small back ones. Now remember, the front couldn't go up to where it belonged because this mount's in the way. So I notched it, missed a spot filing, and I cut this front edge down because this actually makes a shield for that front anyway. And I took those two bolts that were up in this bottom mount. I removed those, put a bigger washer to fit that bigger hole, and stuck those back in to hold the front up. You can see there's no way. It's good. It's good. You're not gonna damage nothing, and you got your skid plate back in place. So, and it's nice and tight. Everywhere's tight. So don't be afraid to modify if you're going to be using a plow. It's not the end of the world. Where I live, we're going to use the plow. It's a matter of fact snowing right now like crazy, so, but that's the mount installed. Okay, finished product. I took the top piece that I cut off that wrapped around, flipped that over, stuck those centering washers and bolts that belong there back in there, and it just kind of added another little shield here to the bottom. It actually worked out okay. It doesn't look bad. So it's got all the plastic that it came with on there now. We're moving on to they want you to assemble the blade next. So here's the blade. Right now I got the top facing up because I have to install the wear bar first. And there you see your box of bolts and stuff. That's the wear bar. We're going to get this squared away and get the right tools, and then we'll come back and show you where we're going. All the bolts for the wear bar in place. Wear bar's in place. See? We've got the wear bar on, it's tight. So now we're doing the feet brackets. Your skid feet brackets that hold these are there. 9/16 is the size. So both brackets are installed. I had to bounce out pretty quick there because this ready heater over here ran out of kerosene that was gagging me to death. Okay, we're gonna get ready to install the feet. Doing the skid feet's fairly easy. You have a lot option to work with here on this, on how you want to put your spacers, or how much snow or dirt, gravel, whatever you want to grab. So if you would put everything down low, that would put your foot down low and you would leave a layer. I chose to set mine right now so that it's fairly close. I don't know if I'm catching that because it's snow, and I may have to adjust it with some washers. So I added a washer in here to protect the rubber on this end. But so you just take your foot, basically the exact same thing. Not basically, it is the exact same thing as the other side. Slides down in. I like washers on the other side of my rubber. Get that. These pins are easy. Snap it over. Boom. So now both of them are in. I think you could teach a monkey to do that. Okay, we're starting on the push bar assembly. The first item was we had to stick that 15/16 bolt with a recessed washer, so this turns. It does turn, it's just snug, but it says don't make it so tight that it won't move. I don't want it sloppy flopping all around out there. So that was the first bolt to go on. Here's the other stuff. Getting ready to mount up the bracket, maybe if I put it the right way. So this goes like this. There's the lineups. That goes like that. So let me find the bolts and we'll get that in place. These are 9/16 bolts. So now I'm just going to stick them in and just snug them a little bit. Back them off a tad so you can move it if you have to until you get everything in place. Okay, the next two items going to go in are the pivot risers, is what they call them. They go like this and like this, using the same 9/16 with the 3/8 flat washer. Again, I snug them down and then I just back them off just a little bit so they can move, because until you get everything lined up, you don't know exactly where those are going to be. This is the pivot lock arm, and it fit in between here with a bolt and an aluminum spacer, so it's in where it needs to be. So you can go ahead and tighten these down, and I'm going to say this can be tightened down also. Then the spring will hook up, and that'll be your mechanism for turning your plow side to side. Alright, I had to flip this bracket right here over because I didn't have the spot for the spring. Another little hint before I forget, these are 7/16 right here. 9/16, 7/16. Take these bolts off. This way, this comes up. You can put your spring in real easy, and this will set close enough down onto this mount that you can get them started, and then as you tighten it up, it puts pressure on the spring. You don't have to fight with nothing. Get it all in place, and then boom, you got it. We got it that far. Let's read and see where we got to go now. Alright, this part here is the winch attachment bracket, and you're going to use the same bolt you've been using. It goes on like that. At least they stay consistent with the bolts and stuff. You don't have to keep looking for wrenches or sockets. Let me double check before I get stupid here and tighten down. I checked the drawing directions, whatever you want to call that shit they give with it, and that is the correct position, so I tightened it down. So far you can see what you have. Alright, next step is you're going to attach the push arm to the blade. The push arm's got to come up off the ground quite a bit to get these bolts through over here. So what I did was, to get that reasonably lined up, I used a jack to hold the weight, because all this is starting to get pretty heavy now. So this will help you get those bolts lined up. These bolts right here and here are 3/4. You want them tight, but you don't want to smash this ear in between there. There's no spacer or nothing, so you just want to get it tight, but not, you don't want to weld it. Now these are tight. I didn't go real far, but they are tight. I just didn't reef them on. Tried to get them about the same. Now we're going to put the springs on. I'll hook the bottoms up first. Just lay them right there for right now. Then you're going to take the eye bolts, and these eye bolts will go down, and that's what will pull tension onto those springs. Alright, this is what it looks like when you get these eye bolts on. You just slip them up here, then you have to pull back on the blade a little bit to get slack to screw these down. It says don't screw them down very tight until you get this next step done. And of course, the more you screw down, the more tension it's for your blade flipping forward and pulling it back in place. So at this point right now, you're just kind of getting it set in place. We'll get these blocks on, and then we'll go from there. These are the stop blocks. They're going to go on this arm down right here, and they're machined for different distances of tilt, I guess, is what the directions say. They say that most users use the shortest side, which is this side forward. the blade being forward. So that's how we're gonna install them. It's the stop block. It goes out here. Now you'll notice when you go to put this on, it don't necessarily fit exact. You're gonna have to push the blade a little bit to get it to fit. I pushed that side on already, so it seems to have straightened this side out. Those are the stop blocks. I go in a position like that and then tighten them up. Alright, the blocks are in place. These bolts are 9/16. Alright, this is the plow. It's built. That's what you look like when it's all done. I did some adjusting on the springs.